Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner, and this is stage 1 of Tour of Romandie. It's going to be a sprinter stage. Circuit, 4 laps, about 105 miles total with 2 climbs. One 2.5 kilometers long at 7% and one 2.2 kilometers at about 6% average. Narrow roads, hard climbs, super steep, but just not very long. Overall, it's going to be a sprinter stage when you put it on. Now, I came down this morning, turned the show on, and I can see the race is all strung out in a single file line at the front with maybe the top 30, and then after that it bunches up and gets fat all the way through the back of the field. That tells me the speed is going okay, but not difficult, and there's zero stress. If there was a lot of stress, you would see the race bunched up at the front and then single file in the back. So it had the opposite effect of what we watched on today's stage. Go back, and we're talking about March for Paris-Nice or something, and you'll see where they're just fighting curb to curb from side to side on the road, and then they'll go 50, 75 guys back, and then just single file back there as the guys in the back are really fighting for position. Today's race, complete opposite. It's calm, it's relaxed. They just came from the classic season there in the Ardennes, and now the promoters set this race up so that it would be an easy transition stage before we start tomorrow's mountainous stage. So they go over the last climb, breakaway's caught with just one rider left. They'll catch him right there after the last climb, and then some action happens with the Deceuninck Quick-Step riders throwing in some digs there. Remy Cavagna, he always puts in a show when we're talking about the end of these stages on the harder ones. He'll throw in some digs. He's got his teammate with him, but they have Bike Exchange latched on and FDJ. Those two riders, they want a field sprint. They're not going to work with the two Deceuninck Quick-Step riders, and so they're going to kill that break, and we're going to come into a sprint. Now, it's a little bit slow motion sprint, and that's because all of the big sprinter teams and the big sprinters aren't here. They don't have 7 guys, quality guys, all set up to lead out a sprint. They're going into a headwind, so that's going to slow the speed down a lot too. On top of that, you have wet roads, and you have a left and a right turn to go with 800 and 600 meters before the line. That will slow everything down. Now, Bahrain Merida, they're going to take over with 1.4 kilometers to go, and this is a mistake. From 1.4 kilometers before the line, Jan Tratnik and Sonny Colbrelli are the only 2 Bahrain victorious riders up there. There's no way for a sprinter to be on the wheel of only one teammate with 1.4 kilometers to go. He cannot keep the speeds fast enough. He can keep him out of trouble, but there's no way he's going to have that last acceleration to go from 500 to 200 meters to go and then launch Sonny Colbrelli. Instead, it's Jan Tratnik, and he's doing from 1.4 kilometers. He'll go into the left turn at 800 and the right turn at 600 meters to go, and he's still on the front. Before that, before those 2 turns there, you had Peter Sagan on the Bahrain victorious rider's wheel. He gets pinched off as the 2 Israel Startup Nation riders come together in front of him like that, and that'll pinch him off with his bar, so he's going to have to back off, and he's going to have to give up Sonny Colbrelli's wheel to Patrick Bevin. Patrick Bevin takes the wheel with about 1.2 kilometers to go. They'll ride into the left turn at 800 meters and the right turn at 600 meters. In my opinion, at that point in time, Sonny Colbrelli, if he wanted any shot of winning today's race, he needed to open the gap to Jan Tratnik and just make some of the other teams close it from behind. And basically, he needed chaos. There's not enough speed in the Bahrain train that they're going to be able to deliver with only one guy leading out for more than a K on the front, that he's going to have any kind of freshness left in his legs. With 350 meters to go, Sonny Colbrelli still on his teammate's wheel. Peter Sagan knows he needs to move up and grab the wheel of Sonny Colbrelli. He'll go around Patrick Bevin on the right. Sonny Colbrelli will look back just a little bit, and he can feel and probably see Sagan coming with that acceleration. When he does, it's Jan Tratnik on the front, and he's losing speed, and that'll cause a slight bit of overlap between Sonny Colbrelli and his teammate Jan Tratnik. Sonny Colbrelli, you'll see him have to really angle his bike over a little bit to avoid overlapping the back wheel with his teammate. As soon as he gets to the left, he'll punch it. Sagan will go right around Jan Tratnik, and he'll meet up with Sonny Colbrelli along the fencing. Now, Patrick Bevin follows Sonny Colbrelli, but the problem was Patrick Bevin was on the inside between the fence and Sonny Colbrelli, and that allows the bars of Peter Sagan to be in front of Patrick Bevin. Now when he slides back behind the wheel of Sonny Colbrelli, and they're going into a headwind, so he's getting a draft this whole time. Peter Sagan looked completely calm. I mean, he just came around Jan Tratnik and just squeezed off Patrick Bevan. Patrick Bevan had to ease up there and back off. That gave the wheel and about 25 meters worth of good draft, and they're going into a block headwind for Peter Sagan. When Sonny Gabrielli punches it 100% to the line, though, Peter Sagan is just too strong at this point in time. Sonny Gabrielli had to go from about 250 meters all the way to the line, if not 275. That allowed Peter Sagan to just swing off, get that draft, swing around Jan Tratnik, get that draft from Sonny Gabrielli, and then punch it to the line and pulls a great victory at Tour of Romandie. Pro Tour nonetheless. Peter Sagan, he won in Catalonia in Spain about a month ago or so ago. Now he's got a second big win in the Pro Tour race. He's coming back. Remember, last season he had some problems when we're talking about the Tour de France of trying to find that win. He won in the Giro on stage 10, I believe it was. This year, he's been quiet because he got COVID early on. Then he wins a stage at Catalonia and now a stage here at Tour of Romandie, stage 1. So he's on form. We're seeing him coming back. Hopefully that means when he takes off from here and goes over to the Giro, we see him really fighting for more stage victories at the Giro this year. Today's stage is really subdued and calm and relaxed. A lot what I predicted on yesterday's Butterfly Effect. It's just the riders have traveled from the Ardennes Classic. The stage isn't dangerous. It had wide roads, so it was easy for them to relax and stay calm and just chill on today's stage. Tomorrow's stage is when we're going to see the action. Just over a 100-mile stage, 6 categorized climbs. First 5 of the climbs throughout the stage are Category 2, and the last one is a Category 1 with a descent into the finish. Going to be an exciting finish. I really love when they have the climb, you go over the last climb of Category 1, and I love when you have a descent into the finish because it's very hard to control the group of favorites at that point in time. They're going to lose their teammates. You look here, we should see Jumbo-Visma with Sepp Kuss. He was riding good. He's right at the front of today's sprint finish, so you know he's got good legs. So we might see him attacking tomorrow on the last Category 1 climb, but he's going to have to go over by himself or go over with someone that's not Team Ineos if they want any chance to dislodge the Ineos 3 leaders of Rowan Dennis, Richie Porte, and of course, Geraint Thomas. Those 3 got to stay together and keep things under control. Could be we see those 3 guys riding together, or could be one of them is sitting on one of the riders attacking Rowan Dennis when we're going up the last climb. Tomorrow's not going to be like today's stage. Tour of Romandie is almost always like this. Every year when I've come over, this particular stage is always a little calm and relaxed and just moving slow all the time. So, no, today's stage wasn't exciting, but we got to see Peter Sagan come back up and grab a win, and tomorrow's going to be all hands on deck when it comes to the GC fight. Should be a great stage tomorrow. Hope you like Butterfly Effect, and I'll see you guys real soon.